guys, welcome at Marshini's. In this video we are going to talk about Raspberry Pi, what Raspberry Pi is and what a microcontroller is and how we can utilize Raspberry Pi. There are a lot of microcontrollers out in the market, but in this video we are going to talk about only Raspberry Pi, how we can use it, how we can install it, and some examples of projects that you can utilize in your home or business environment. So let's explore Raspberry Pi. Here I'm going to give you a closer look what a Raspberry Pi is. So as I said, Raspberry Pi is one of the microcontrollers. Now you can ask what a microcontroller is. Just to give you an example, if you have a light bulb in the home and you want to switch it on and off, you would have traditional switch, something like this, to switch on and off, right? Now what a microcontroller is and how we are going to utilize it. In later videos we are going to talk about other components, what we can attach and what we can do with the Raspberry Pi. Something like this I have attached. This is GPS, and we will talk in later projects, and we will create one of the projects how we can install GPS and have location with the help of Raspberry Pi. Okay, but in this video we are just going to introduce what a Raspberry Pi is and what are the kinds of projects we can achieve. So let's hop on the details. Okay, this is Raspberry Pi 4 version. It has two HDMIs, micro HDMIs, okay, type C, that's for the power, and the audio output here that you can amplify anywhere in your business or home environment. In this side there's a network port that you can see. I am running a local network, Ether network. There are 4 USBs on the back. 2 ports are 2.0 version and 2 ports are 3.0 version for fast connectivity or fast communication. The previous versions of Pi, you may see some of the versions of Pi or smaller versions of Pi, or they call it Pico Raspberry Pi or Raspberry Pi Pico. There are smaller versions, they don't have ports, they don't come with this kind of case like this one comes. Oh, I forgot about to introduce fan. There is a fan, it comes with the kit. I actually got the kit to install this on one of my aircraft. If you would like to have this screen itself attached with the Raspberry Pi like a computer screen, there are 2 ports inside. One for the camera, this one is for the camera. You can attach an additional camera with it and have functions running through Raspberry Pi. Another one is this port, as you can see here. This port, currently the Raspberry Pi is running, that's why you can see the power light is on and the data transfer is up and running, so you can see the light is flashing. Okay, so this port is for the screen display. If you like to have the screen display itself here, you can have screen display. Okay, so you can have screen display attached with it. Currently I attach fan is running. When you have the kit closed, it's decent quiet. It keeps the system processors cool while running some kind of hard processing, you know. Okay, let's hop onto the computer and see how we can install Raspberry Pi software and how we can run. Currently I attached one of the HDMIs with my screen. So when we attach HDMI, you can have the direct display over the screen. Yeah, I attached the screen with the HDMI. Now let's burn. I forgot to show one of the important part of Raspberry Pi, which is a card slot. A card slot where we are, you know what, let me shut it down and show you. This is the micro SD card that we are using, 32 GB, and and this is the port where it goes. So let's install it back and hop onto the computer and see how we can run Raspberry Pi software. So first of all, we will go to official website of Raspberry Pi. It's raspberrypi.org, and as you can see, Raspberry Pi as same we have on our desk running. You go to the software and click on software, download for Windows or other operating systems, whatever you have. Now once you download the software, you're going to install it and you're going to run it. We are going to require a card where we are going to burn the operating system, as you can see on the computer screen. So once you downloaded the software, you run it. This is how it looks like. By default, you don't need to find any ISO or download any ISO to run Raspberry Pi operating system. It comes with it. You can click on choose operating system and see Raspberry Pi. By default it is here. You can choose some of the other operating systems as well according to the requirement, but what I do is I download first and then I burn copy, something like here it says use custom, and then you can choose where your ISO copy is, where you have downloaded. Okay, so once you choose operating system, and after that you are going to choose storage, where the memory card is, where the SD card is. Okay, so once you choose the storage, after that you are going to hit on write, and it will take a few minutes. Finally it will burn the operating system on the card itself. Once the operating system is burnt on ISO and you're ready to go, as I shown you earlier, the card slot and where we have inserted the card, we install it, and after that when we are going to start it, this is how it's going to look. I'm going to start right there in front of you guys. So in the beginning, how it looks, if you have attached a screen with HDMI, you can have the direct display. If you do not have direct screen attached with it, you're going to find the IP address via Ethernet cable. You can attach Ethernet cable and a network with it, and you have to find the IP address in order to have access on your Raspberry Pi. In other words, you say in order to have SSH connection, you're going to require the IP address of the machine itself. Okay, so let's hop onto the Raspberry Pi and see how it goes. Oop, right there. This is the default background screen of Raspberry Pi. Okay, as you can see, successfully we have installed operating system on the card, and after that we started. This is how Raspberry Pi starts up. Now once you have Raspberry Pi start up, you have control over it. You can do plenty of things. You can do whatever you like. It's basically operating system running for you, whatever you like to do with it. Now the beauty of microcontrollers is you can actually have control over those pins. You can have actually attach electronic components with it and have control from these interfaces, and have something like I shown you GPS, or you can have a light bulb in your home. Here is the Raspberry Pi configuration. The Raspberry Pi configuration you can do over SSH, or here via this interface. Here the interfaces, you can enable, disable all those pins which are inside, and programmatically you can do whatever you like to do, switch on and off, or do any other computing thing if you like to do on the fly. So here, Raspberry Pi desktop, all these applications by default. You can see sound, you can see audio, software, VLC media player, and you can have audio running from here. You can amplify anywhere you like. There are some other applications by default. There is a Vnc Viewer that we utilized in order to do remote desktop connection. It's called Vnc Viewer. So you can switch on and off, and via the same IP address you can have access, remote desktop access. Okay, there are other applications by default installed. I installed Arduino from my side, Gini, ABCD, stuff like that. Okay, install it on your desktop and play around, see what are the applications comes with by default. Okay, so this is all about Raspberry Pi. Okay, how Raspberry Pi looks like, how we can install it, and in next upcoming videos we will talk about how we can add things, how we can attach things with Raspberry Pi and have data and live data on our side. Okay, thank you for watching, guys. This is Vinny at Machines.